Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here, and in this video I'm going to be discussing whether or not we could see Nova Prime make an appearance in Transformers 5. But before I get into it, I want to put out 3 disclaimers. First, all of this video outside of this opening was recorded with the intent of being in the same video as my Optimus Prime becomes Nemesis Prime theory. So if anything that's said sounds a little bit off, that's why. Number 2, this video will contain spoilers for the IDW more than meets the eye comic books. And number 3, I haven't caught up to the point in the comics where Nova Prime makes an appearance, so a lot of the things that I'm going to be speculating about are based on what I've read online and what I've heard from other people. In any case, I'll be starting the video by reading a description of Nova Prime's character from the Transformers Wikia. Nova Prime was the predecessor to Nominus Prime, once the elite soldier Nova Major. He led the unification to a divided Cybertron. Ascending to leadership of his people, an expansionist and a supremacist, Nova Prime believed that Transformers were the greatest among all life forms, and that they should bring their glory to the myriad of lesser races throughout the universe. After being sucked into the dead universe, Nova was chosen to be the host for the Darkness, an otherworldly counterpart of the Matrix of leadership, which worked by transforming the inhabitants of the dead universe into undead wielders of anti-life. Upon merging, Nova was reborn as the sinister and extremely powerful Nemesis Prime. He now sees it as his mission to fulfill the Darkness imperative by expanding the dead universe hold into the living realm. Nemesis may seem to hold sway over both his troops and the Darkness, but nothing could be further from the truth. The powerful Galvatron sees the Darkness as his rightful inheritance, and then there is the fear that the Darkness has more in common with the Matrix than Nemesis is comfortable with. He feels he has earned this power and isn't willing to see it follow its natural path. It is for this reason he must eliminate Optimus Prime, and it is for this reason he fears to face his successor. So definitely a pretty interesting sounding backstory from the comic books. I know he's a pretty popular character. In simple terms, this is kind of a 50-50 for me. It all depends on where things are by the end of Transformers 5. For example, if they kind of wrap up this creator's story and we're no longer dealing with the Quintessons, then yeah, I think there will be room for Nova Prime / Nemesis Prime to show up, as they're going to need different story arcs to work throughout the films until they get to Unicron, which I believe to be the end game of the films. And Nova Prime would be a pretty good build-up, and they could probably tie his story arc into Unicron as well. I could probably do more videos on that in the future. Not only that, but he would provide a rival to not only Optimus, but to Galvatron, possibly being a force that could cause both Optimus and Galvatron to have to unify, which I said in previous videos I believe is very plausible, as we probably are going to have Galvatron stay till the end of the Bayformers universe, and they're going to need to do some stuff with his character to keep him interesting. Basically, he can't just be fighting Autobots versus Decepticons throughout the rest of the films. Even bringing something so big such as the dead universe into the films, I don't think is beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, in Transformers Dark of the Moon, they were trying to bring Cybertron to Earth, so I don't think this is too much of a stretch, especially considering, once again, they're going to have a lot of films to go through. They're considering like at least, I think it's another 10 years of Bayformers, so they're going to need a lot of material to go through. Also, he has an undead army. I think Michael Bay's at least going to want to consider that, because you know they always like to have fodder for these movies. You know, in the first two it was, in the Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, we had basically random Decepticons, then we had Viacons. Some of us are speculating we could see like Insecticons or Sharkticons in Transformers 5. Undead soldiers, you know, seems like a logical continuation of this trend, so I think it would work out in a number of ways. We don't really know how the new writers are going to handle characters, but if they were to include him, considering the new writer's room, I hope this would mean Nova Prime would get, you know, all of that backstory he had in the comic books. They could add some new stuff to his character, but basically I want him to be a good character, well-developed character, whether he's exactly like he was in the comics, or he's a different character entirely. Basically, if they develop him well, I'll be cool with that. And so far, the writer's room, it seems pretty cool, so maybe we could see something like that. On the flip side, if Transformers 5 kind of ends on a cliffhanger with the creators still being a big threat, Galvatron is leveling up in threateningness, and we're not really seeing it close to that anytime soon, I would say the chances for Nova Prime appearing become slimmer. Because if we see that ends up being the case, then they may be interested in just running the creators and Galvatron villain arcs all the way up until Unicron's appearance. Hoping that's not the case. I don't think it will be, but I think it's a possibility. We'll have to see what they do in Transformers 5. Personally, I just don't see him appearing in Transformers 5. One more thing I want to mention. Some people kind of seem to think evidence against Nova Prime appearing is that they already had Sentinel Prime being this evil Prime. The thing about Nova Prime, I think from day one we would know he was a bad guy. We wouldn't, have this whole trickery going on or anything like that. So be pretty clean cut, and his whole story arc sounds pretty different. So I don't think there would really be a problem there. Maybe a little bit with marketing, Prime, but it's probably going to be like 10 years since Dark of the Moon by that point. I can't believe it's been that long, but yeah. So those are my thoughts on it. You guys can, of course, leave yours in the comment section below. What do you think about Nova Prime's potential appearance? You think maybe my hopes are a little bit too high? Are you, dead set on the idea that he'll maybe even show up in Transformers 5? Or maybe you're convinced that Optimus will be turned into Nemesis Prime, and maybe Bumblebee will fall by Optimus's blade. Anyways, if you want to hear more cool commentary videos like this, you can go to my channel, look through some of my other videos, and keep up with the channel for more videos on the Transformers movies, cartoons, toys, eventually the comics, just anything Transformers related. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks so much for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.